All right, Fox News correspondent Geraldo Rivera knows it's a Friday, and wherever you are, Geraldo, we will find you with a camera.
We tracked him down in Cleveland.
Yeah. So, Geraldo, first off, I got to ask you, how many hurricanes have you covered? We're in double figures, well into the double figures now. What about Puerto Rico? My goodness, they said they're not going to have power for months.
Don't you have an island down there?
Well, I sold the island, but I haven't heard, more importantly, I haven't heard from the people who care for the island and the people in the southern city of Salinas, which took an almost direct hit. Great to see you guys and to talk to you, and thank you for asking. But I've got to tell you that the situation in Puerto Rico is dire. I just spoke to some friends in a different part of the island. It is absolutely devastated. It is an enormous catastrophe. It's like a Hurricane Katrina scale catastrophe. There's flooding everywhere. No shops are open. There's no power whatsoever. My family, the last time we heard from them Wednesday, they were doing okay. They have a concrete home and a generator. My family in the Bayamon area, a suburb of the capital of San Juan. But everything we hear is all of the isolated villages in the mountains are cut off. They are finding people drowned. I think the casualty number will be one of those that is truly just awful. It's a disaster. You know, it's cut off. The food will be running out. The ports have been damaged. You know, the airports, we can't get anybody in there until Sunday. It's the FEMA people on the ground. Many of them covered Hurricane Harvey. They went directly to Puerto Rico because of Hurricane Irma, which wiped out 70% of the island's power. Now there's 100% power wiped out, and the FEMA workers are telling my friends and family that this is the worst thing they have seen in decades. And I just don't know, you know, aside from the Red Cross, I'm very frustrated and very concerned and very worried. We've got 2 elderly aunties that haven't been heard from. So it's a situation where I can't stress enough how dire it is. Yeah. It is one of those biblical destruction. I mean, you see the tall buildings and they're still standing, but remember,
I've never been there.
Wooden houses.
I've never been there, but it seems like they were not prepared for anything like this, or was it possible to prepare for something for this? Where they I got to understand how they could honestly say they're not going to get power for months. How could they not have power for months?
First of all, remember, Puerto Rico is bankrupt. Yeah. The power company is corrupt and inefficient, and in the best of times, it's problematic. Power goes out if someone sneezes or a lightning bolt strikes. With this, this truly has wiped out whatever was left of the infrastructure. They're going to almost have to start from scratch, Brian. And in terms of preparation, remember, Puerto Rico has the kind of facade of being a modern Caribbean paradise. But you go into the villages, it's really a third world country in some of those more rural areas. And I was saying that the wooden structures, zinc roofs, everybody with a zinc roof has lost their roofs. There's no sanitation. There's no fresh water. The only food they have, I mean, there's a curfew from 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning to prevent desperate people from looting the markets, whatever is left inside. There is I know President Trump. And I know that he knows Puerto Rico very well. He has had various properties there over time. I know that he sees what I see, that this is one of those emergencies that we'll be hearing a lot more about as we get to these more isolated communities. But it is something that will change Puerto Rico forever.
They will have to build it back, and they'll build it better. And the president has said he would like to go down there. Meanwhile, of course, Geraldo, the president, was here in New York City. He had an excellent week. He made it very clear his whole idea is America first. He took strong stands where he's going to hold Iran accountable, and of course North Korea as well. And there are these new sanctions that have come out yesterday to essentially say, you know, if you're going to do business with us, you can't do business with them.
Yeah, and they've gone back and forth, he and Kim Jong-un. He tweeted this morning, our president, about Kim Jong-un. He said, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, who is obviously a madman who doesn't mind starving or killing his people, will be tested like never before. A good reminder of how crazy and how evil and how mean this guy is, Geraldo.
You know, Ainsley, I think you're absolutely right. I just want to say one thing about the president generally in the week that Steve mentioned that the president has had. It is no accident that his approval rating across the board is ticking up. Why is that? It's because he has shown leadership and compassion and understanding of suffering in terms of Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, and now Hurricane Maria. He has really stepped up to the plate, not only as the consoler-in-chief, but as the chief executive. He wants, and he's got that great FEMA guy now working for him, he wants the federal government to do the best it can to help all its citizens, and I really applaud him. The other reason the president's popularity has ticked up is this strength and reason and steadiness he is showing with the Rocket Man, and I love that nickname. I don't know how Elton John feels about it, but I think
probably
that
not happy.
You know, to see this swollen, self-important crazy man who's now threatening to explode hydrogen bombs in the atmosphere. The president, in confronting him and demanding sanctions that really work. What does that mean? For example, telling banks that do business with North Korea, however surreptitiously, that we will find you. And if we find you, you will have a choice, a stark choice. You will do business with North Korea, or you will do business with the United States of America and the civilized world. You can't have it both ways. That and stopping these deceptive ships that are actually plying goods to North Korea, but they put in phony ports of the destination. Yep. They do a sneaky stop in North Korea, then go to Vladivostok in Russia, and they claim that was their destination the entire time. We will bust them. I want the president to take a step and board some of these North Korean vessels and to find out what they carry and where they're going. I think that North Korea is one of those situations where the president is showing a steady hand. He's got a great cabinet to do this. And I anticipate that we will at least slow this madman's drive to a kind of self-destructive Armageddon here. We've got to humble them without igniting the fuse.
Right. Geraldo, it looks as if the Graham-Cassidy bill in the U.S. Senate is going to get a vote by next week. They're really close to having enough Republicans. Lindsey Graham said this yesterday, and then your reaction.
Okay.
I can tell you this. If you want money and power out of Washington, you want to end the march to single-payer health care, this is your last best chance. This is the biggest change in health care in my lifetime. This is federalism versus socialism. I think we're going to get 50 Republicans to vote for federalism, and I'll make a prediction. A couple of Democrats are going to come on board because their state does so well.
Okay, so that's the choice for the Senate. Do you like Obamacare, or do you like this new thing?
That may be the choice, Steve, but I go back to the arithmetic. I don't know how you get Murkowski of Alaska. How do you get Rand Paul?
Kickbacks. They're calling it the polar payoff. They're going to give her a bunch of money.
I remember President Obama got Connecticut with a huge public facility that he promised there. So I'm sure that they will try that kind of stuff. But McCain, Collins, Murkowski, Paul, I don't know how you get to 50. Now, it may be that they're going to give amazing benefits to Alaska, which, as of right now, the last time I read, is going to get screwed by the change to Trump care. But in terms of the mechanics, and you know, you watch Jimmy Kimmel and his son and this emotional, heartfelt plea that no child gets left behind with Trump care versus Obamacare and all the rest of it. This is a very contentious issue. As of right now, the states that went along with President Obama's Medicaid expansion, largely the blue states, are in line to get screwed by Trump care. So I understand this is a transfer of money from blue states to red states. That's the way lots of people see it in hard, cold cash terms. So it comes down to simple arithmetic. Do the red states have the votes to pass Trump care or to repeal Obamacare? I don't know that there's a person in this country that's going to get into the mind of John McCain or Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins or Rand Paul and predict with certainty what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's still too early, but I would say this. A lot of people saw Obamacare and said, why is New York, Massachusetts, and California and Maryland getting all of it? They turn out to be all blue states, so they feel like they're flattening it out, just to give the other side of it.
I totally agree. It is that. It is a stark political calculation, but it comes down to the humanity does a child with a pre-existing condition, does that child get all the medical care that child needs? These are hard questions, and I think Lindsey Graham is right. Universal health care is socialism. You can't get away from it. That's what it is. It's the state paying for the individual's needs. It is socialism, and he's proposing federalism, but people now have to, melt that down and say, what does that really mean? Does that mean little Johnny doesn't have care and some rich guy does get care? The rich will live in the pool. I am very worried that President Trump will expend the goodwill he has earned on those other areas as the compassionate consoler-in-chief and the confronter of North Korea. I think that if he does get what he wants with this repeal of Obamacare, he could have some of that popularity eroded.
But, of course, Geraldo, as you know, if the Senate decides no, then it's going to implode, and that's going to be a big mess.
Right.
That is a topic for another day.
Right.
So anyway,
that's also true, Steve.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
and don't
Geraldo.
forget about Puerto Rico. We won't. Thanks, Geraldo.